Alina. Can you hear me well?
Waalaikumsalam, Menteri Kamarul, Aznam. It has been more than 10 years since we last met.
Has it been that long?
I think so. And what you wrote about halal is actually memorable. I used to get my students to refer to what you had written, especially on reference during the heydays of halal.
That is 15 to 20 years ago. I'm not too sure whether it's still valid or not.
Exactly. So actually, when I have something to show them about your works, they have some idea on where to head to and what are the opportunities for them. And I believe it is exactly the perfect match for today's theme for halal media, because before this, when we talk about medias, those will say, what? Halal media? What do you mean by that? So you are in the industry, and we hope that you are able to share with us your experience as well as your insights, and how do we go about from this?
I'll try. To tell the truth, it's been a long time since I'm fully actively involved in halal industry. Should I start?
Yes, I think you can start.
Right. As per what you mentioned, Alina, my name is Aznam bin Kamarozaman. For those who don't know me, I represent H Media, a Malaysian-based consulting company. I was the editor for the Halal Journal, a business and trade magazine for the halal industry. And after that, I joined or tried to do my own, and we published the Halal SME report directory. And off and on, I did still some work for Halal Industry Development Corporation, which is now HSD, without the industry. And all my works are on display actually on hmedia.my. So if you guys can go to the projects page, probably you can see some of the list of the stuff that I did. As per, I don't know whether I'm still qualified to be talking about halal media as per what Dr. Alina mentioned. But after H Media, after my own venture into publishing for halal industry, I realized that there wasn't much capital to float around within the industry to finance some of the projects that I had in mind. So due to that, I had to take a back seat and put some of my intentions on the back burner. And I joined one of the Malaysia's biggest media company, which is the Media Prima Group. So after 5 years, I've been seconded to head the marketing communication side of a subsidiary of Media Prima Berhad, which is the New Straits Times Press Malaysia Berhad, which also publishes the 3 main Malaysian newspapers, which is New Straits Times, Berita Harian, as well as Harian Metro. So these 3 newspapers, as well as its online equivalent, as well as its CSR events and projects are all within my grasp, but I was thinking of trying to do something along those lines, but for halal. So hence my keen interest in joining back the halal industry, I suppose. And this is a perfect opportunity and a timely request from Dr. Alina. Thank you very much, Doctor. Much appreciate your kind thoughts and gestures.
Yes, your timing is perfect, because just to inform and update you, on the level of Malaysia. The Malaysian Quality Assurance framework by our Ministry of Education had just issued the latest halal program standard for the whole of Malaysia. And that document is available and downloadable from internet MQA website, which which give description on what are the body of knowledge of halal studies, be it in the science, applied science, or in management or humanities. And currently in Malaysia, there are around more than 60 programs consisting of diploma, bachelor's, master, and PhD in halal. Therefore, yes, that high numbers. Okay, so I think if before this, based from your experience, you had a hard time on trying to get investments from business and so on, I can only conclude that you are too far ahead and too advanced for that time. But now is the best, it is what we can call the time is ripe, the fruit is ripe for you to continue back your passion in halal media, halal education. Okay, and another thing about this is that it's not only in Malaysia, but the trend are observable. A couple of years ago, I think around 2016, university in Indonesia, they had even done their own consortium of universities, okay, and that group they call Jaten or Jawa Tengah. It is actually groups of 12 universities. They create a loose consortium of championing halal education, halal research, and so on. So that are examples of where actually the demand are there, okay, concerning about media, because if we call it halal media, but if for those who are uninitiated or who only describe halal in a very narrow-minded way or in a wrong way, so it is not halal, it can be syubaha or even haram. Yes. So I think now comes the most awaited time. So Mr. Kamarul, can you please proceed?
I don't know whether it's the most awaited, but bear in mind, please bear with me, guys. I haven't been presenting for ages. So this is the Nurturing Young Talent in the Global Halal Industry Halal Conference. And what I'm about to talk about is the insights on the halal media and recreation industry, as far as I can understand from what I observe right now. What we're trying to do for the next hopefully half an hour to 40 minutes is to define some of the terms, including for new media, traditional media, social media, and then we take a look at the impact on COVID and the digital shift within the media, current and upcoming developments within this region and around the world, as well as some conclusions to end things up today. So we start with the definition. As you guys all know, An-Nahl 114 talks about the favors of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who gives us the food which is lawful and good. This lawful and good term is halal and tayyiban. So halal and tayyib goes always hand in hand. It's also a concept that shares the whole universal values promoting peace, prosperity, tolerance, and development in all aspects of the community. And the opposite is obviously haram. For media, it's a noun. It's the plural of medium. It's a communication that reaches and influences people, and it's a multidisciplinary, and it's always continually changing. New media, it's most significantly the internet and the digital world, implies the use of computers and mobile phones. Is also allows a group of people to congregate online and share, sell, and swap goods and information and ideas. It will also allow people to have a voice in their community and in the world in general, because this is a two-way communication, not just the previous one-way previously in traditional media. For new media, along those lines, we've got social networking as well, which is the practice of expanding one's business or contacts, making connections with individuals through the use of internet. And it's based on the 6 degrees of separation. As well, we go to recreation. It's a noun. It's a socially acceptable leisure activity that provides immediate and inherent satisfaction to the individual. It's actually done for enjoyment when one is not working. So it's something else aside from activities that you do besides working. So therefore, the whole concept of halal media and education it's a means to communicate halal and its inherent values as a socially acceptable way of life for the community and the world in general, by using old and new media, including social networking, to provide immediate and inherent satisfaction to the audiences. So when we talk about the young generation's view, we have to go back to the halal and taib aspect, which is an all-encompassing aspect of life. As you know, halal is fitra, and fitra is the natural state of things, which is also recreation, which is natural. But right now, since we are in this situation, is COVID natural? That's one question that I would like to pose. So because of its impact of pandemic COVID-19, it has transcended almost all sectors, including halal. And one of the biggest ones to be affected is the Islamic travel industry. This is taking back from whatever Dina Standard's State of the Global Islamic Economy report states that the whole travel sector will only be recovering to pre-2019 levels in 2023. That's like 2-3 years away. 2 years away. So we've got also the whole global Muslim expenditure on travel, which is quite hefty at 194 billion. And this number is expected to reduce by 70% by 2020, thanks to the pandemic. So two of the most major losses for Islamic travel sector is the Hajj season for 2 years. Every year, about 28 billion US dollar were spent by pilgrims in Saudi Arabia, and for 2 years, you can imagine that figure would rise up to more than 50 billion. As well as the Tokyo Olympics, we've got 300 million cancelled halal catering for Muslim athletes by some of the Malaysian counterparts. But also we saw major gains in 2020 when Traveloka raises 250 million and Hotel Data Cloud, UAE-based tech startups, secures 350,000. So also a worthy mention is CIMIC's Halal Tourism Services Standard introduced in 2020. So these are some of the highlights for travel industry, which is one of the biggest affected. So not just bad news, but we've also got good news for this sector. Moving on to media recreation, we've got the whole overall global outlook is quite actually rosy. Dina Standard is forecasting that 2021 will surpass pre-pandemic levels for media recreation. Strong recovery for 2021. Currently, it's 222 billion, up 3.7% from previous year. And 2020, we are looking at 214, a slight reduction, but more in 2021, sorry. The biggest spenders in 2019 COVID-19, Turkey, US, and Indonesia. So 2024, they are forecasting about 270 billion US dollar per year for media and recreation, which is quite hefty. But we still have had major losses because of pandemic. All the venue-based events, cinemas, theaters, film festivals, musical events, even media production, as well as mosques, as you can imagine. So this restricted the whole development within the media, locally and abroad, I think, to a certain degree that a lot of production companies in Malaysia right now are struggling to stay afloat. Some of the major gains, however, we've got online entertainment. So we've got a bigger captive audience due to the lockdown. So because of the bigger captive audience, we've seen a huge rise in views on internet, websites, YouTube, Facebook, even Netflix and some of the streaming services. So this whole pandemic has really initiated or quickened the digital shift within the media. 2 or 3 main events were held online. The first was Global Muslim Virtual Event Film Festival in May and June 2020, as well as a whole huge increase in online seminars, lectures, and sermons online. And you can probably see some of the more Facebook algorithm suggesting a lot more of this during the last Ramadan and the previous months. So TV viewerships also peaked in Ramadan during the pandemic with 103 million in Pakistan. CNN, Facebook, and Netflix all acquired more localized content, especially with Muslim superheroes cartoons like the 99, Miss Marvel, and Bleach Tux. These are testament to the Muslim culture, Muslim population's demand that has been reached by the Hollywood, and they are trying to do something at least to capture this huge burgeoning demand. So within GIE 2021, they also listed some signals of opportunity. Global streaming platforms are sourcing a lot more localized content. Saudi Arabia is also investing heavily in building media and culture, as well as Muslim theme characters in TV series and education and culture programs. These are some of the focus the media and recreation industry are looking into during the pandemic for Muslims worldwide. So within Malaysia and around the world, we've got Muslim Kids TV, which was launched in 2014. They are now looking at a new round of seed funding and capital injections, as well as Alchemia, which was launched in 2015, and the most recent Netflix in Malaysia, which was launched earlier this year. Also within the travel and hospitality, Japan is targeting a lot more Middle East tourists, hoping to get about 60 million visitors to spend 60 trillion yen by 2030. That's a huge number. So these are the current and upcoming developments, which should spur some of the developments within the media and recreation industry within this region and around the world. Although I have to say that this is a money capital intensive venture. It is its success remains to be seen, and from what I can understand from Muslim Kids TV and Alchemia, they are a bit struggling a bit because well, for one, production as well as Netflix production has been cancelled. They are still just waiting for MCO to clear, and even if not for the lockdowns, they will have problems in securing new clients because I don't know, it's probably the marketing strategy or something, but it's not as smooth sailing as expected earlier. So these are the three main experiences that we can gather from streaming services. I would expect the same situation would keep up with other media ventures, although it still remains to be seen how post-pandemic situation will change in this sector. So as a conclusion, the whole halal marketplace and as the whole halal marketplace and industry matures, we will definitely see more efforts in incorporating both the type values within halal in all aspects of life, including media exploration. And just like food and drinks, the whole global Muslim consumers will continue to demand a deeper spiritual connection. This is something that is inherent for all Muslims, I think, in everything that they do in their daily activities, including recreation. This is what drives us day to day, trying to seek the pleasure of Allah and hopefully be able to, end well in this world and the next. This applies, deeper spiritual connection also applies to not just the end products, but also to everything in between. So we've got the processes by which all those media programs and seminars are produced. So most importantly, the whole global Muslim market has demonstrated its willingness to pay for good, wholesome, halal and Sharia compliant alternative. Definitely the whole prospect outlook is there, the demand is there. It's just that how best do we position, market, offer the kind of programming that the sectors, the different sub-sectors would demand for, would like for. These are something that needs to be thought of, planned properly, and hopefully get the support of the big boys in the halal. So it's something that we cannot afford to ignore. It's a development that, as Prof said earlier, it's something timely, and this is the best time, I suppose. But we are still waiting for pandemic to subside, and hopefully all the border restrictions are gone, and we can start moving as per normal. Until then, it's all dependent on vaccine and the herd immunity ratio that the government is targeting. So until then, it's still fair game for us. That's about it. Any questions, please do email me, and that's WhatsApp. So, go ahead. Any questions, anybody? Sorry. Dr. Alina?
What do you think about this? There is one Malaysian group. The name is Tarbiyah Sentak. They actually did a politically correct song, which is a K-pop favorite, but there are no haram or shubha elements in it. So that is a very interesting idea. I never thought that this young group could have think in such a way. It's a different way of thinking. Perhaps in Indonesia, they have their version, and like in Turkey, I see that there are Muslim heroes, like you mentioned just now, the hit of story Ertugrul. So yeah. I think, isn't it timely that we start to collect all this, what we call all this media, all this creative arts under one roof, so that at least we are aware that they exist. Maybe you can share with that and perhaps our members, listeners who are attending this, I think maybe you all can ask question also, as well as Prof. Suzana. Perhaps you can comment, because I'm not exactly in this media line, so I hope to learn from you all. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Alina. Dr. Alina. What we've noticed at Media Prima is that some of our programs in the early morning within this pandemic that has religious connotation, religious elements into it, they are really, really popular. I'm not kidding you. They are even surpassing some of the dramas at 7 o'clock, which is already high. And the last event that you did, the reading of Yasin together throughout Malaysia, I think that event itself, one program garnered a lot more than 2 or 3 million viewers at one go. So, which is quite significant, I think, especially something which was done quite last minute, to tell you the truth. So the demand is there, definitely. It's just, I suppose, how to package it and present it nicely to the target audience.
Assalamualaikum, Tuan Kamarul.
Waalaikumsalam.
How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Okay. All right. Interestingly, I think we have been like engrossing a lot of insights about media literacy as well, and in particular when we talk about the halal content, I think the dimension of Islam in terms of our perspective, the things that we need to prohibit, education, for example, is a lot more to offer. And I think interestingly, because we have like now facing this COVID-19 pandemic, everybody is at home and everybody start to realize their good deeds, bad deeds. So the momentum of interest into what you said, as early as 7 in the morning, I must admittedly agree with you. And in fact, I think there's one Quran hour, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Almost every night they do perform, right? So that was under our board of director, our chairman, Datuk Usam, who hold the Sinar and also the sponsor for that particular, session. I think it has attracted number of big audience.
Correct. It has been going on for, I think, a close 5 years, I think, or more than that.
Yeah, but interestingly now it's engaging a lot of viewers, and you see our, as mentioned in Quran, and our duty is only to proclaim the clear message. So I think at this juncture, what is needed for us to really emphasize the content, and but so unfortunate, I think our MCMC have yet to formalize the regulated, things about media content associated to halal. Did you aware of that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Right. So perhaps we need to take a look on all these aspects as well, and how could the Halal Malaysian official portal, like what Jakim has give their insights. They have to just like work along with MCMC and to look at all the things that connect to the viewer aspiration, in particular Muslim world. When we want to educate society, we must make sure that we deliver, everything in faith of Islam and our religious value. I admire your presentation. Thank you very much for, getting, all this sharing with us.
Thank you, Doctor. But if I may add, somebody asked my opinion on my halal series on RTM online. To tell you the truth, I got nothing against the halal program. It's just that for me, the presentation is really boring. Nobody's gonna watch. I can't stand 5 minutes watching it.
Yeah.
So if I mean, it could be done better. If you ask my opinion, it could be done better. But seriously, knowing RTM and they are getting better actually. It's just that I suppose in this regard, they still couldn't
Need a lot more
much like
to improve. Yeah. Can we say that we are still at infancy stage?
quite
A lot of
probably.
things need to be improved.
Yeah, definitely. That
Alhamdulillah,
that's
at
room
least,
for- yeah, that's room for
at least things start somewhere, right?
Yeah,
It's never, we never lose the game. We started.
Also, is it timely that we start to compile TV and electronic media content all over the world? Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
It's something. Although the only problem that I foresee is IP copyrights and stuff. That how do we transfer? Is there a body? Do we need some authority that acts as a umbrella buyer for all this content and placing it, as well as the platforms that we're going to use to send it out and broadcast it around the world. With the advent of currently the what do you call it, free-to-air internet-based broadcasting nowadays, and Malaysia has already gone through that. I think it should be easily available via satellite. But then again, still it's a massive undertaking, and we need a massive capital injection. Tapi it's doable. Once we have that commitment from governments, I think things will flow easily.
Agreed.
Yeah, K-pop, nice. I love it. Medical, halal medical Islamic traditional medicine. Not that I can remember or top of my head right now, but I have to get back to you on that. Sorry.
What I mean, Mr. Kamarul, okay, we know about FINAS, and FINAS is only well known for us who are not in the media for their very tight censorship. But whether FINAS is the official platform for Malaysian media to also champion our ethnic culture, our heritage, as well as Islam. So that when Islamic media is portrayed on TV and radio, it is done in a very professional manner and not in a way that may actually fall short of the standard as a Sharia compliant movie or program or documentary or whatever. So that was what I'm thinking. Okay.
I understand. Yeah, FINA's role is quite I think underrated nowadays, especially with SKNM coming into the picture, and we've got Suruhanjaya, or a commission which is somewhat, I don't know, in theory or in practice, but it seems to be that they are a lot higher than FINAS. I was hoping, to tell the truth, FINAS would step up and fill in that void, but so far it's a bit I suppose they have to bow down to some of the pressures. There are a lot of pressures around, and we are talking about liberals and going into starting to question every single details. So the last thing we need, for me, I think, is conflict. And the last thing we need is to show something that is wrong about Islam without any proper explanation about it. So it's a bit tricky when FINAS has to wear their government authority and somehow protect Muslim population and Islam at the same time. I would rather just give it to Jakim or somebody else. Yeah, more fluent and well versed with Islam and be able to explain any discrepancies or problems or questions that would arise probably by non-Muslims. Because at the end of the day, Malaysia is still a multiracial and country, and we still have to, I suppose, be aware of what's going out there to the public. It's not just going to Muslim consumers or Muslim audiences, but also to the non-Muslims. And this has to be, I suppose it is the same with the whole global population or the whole global scenario. One thing that we cannot do is produce a program that is, for me, short sendiri. And it's something that what we in Media Prima has always trying to avoid, and we always question, is this short sendiri kind of program, and how do we sell it to the sponsors, and does it appeal? And we take the sponsors comments very, very seriously, and we go all out to tell the truth to satisfy whatever their needs are.
Okay, I actually have another question for Mr. Kamarul as well as Prof. Raja Suzana.
I haven't started.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not leaving you empty-handed. I offer you homework. Okay. All right. Is it because of the lack of Islamic media that our youngsters nowadays are all too crazy about K-pop? Let's see if halal media has equal quality, which engage the youngsters, which shows active, happiness, beauty, and all the things that youth aspire for. Okay, but they cannot get. Okay, like for instance, love. Okay, but this time do it in the correct Sharia compliant way, and that does not offend our traditions and culture. Since our media, maybe most of them copies too much Western, or just made the mindset of the public or the typical, you see, like aunties or uncles from the village or kampungs. Okay, so these teenagers or young ones nowadays, they are sophisticated. Their tastes well, they demand good quality ones, but they just don't have the content. So especially to Prof. Dr. Raja Suzana, we are curious also to know of your initiative at your university in terms of engaging the startups, the youngsters, and so on, because we also know that Kelantan is among the richest heritage that we Malaysians are proud of.
Yeah, interestingly, I think the general methodology here is to look at perhaps the impact and influx of, how do we publicize, promote the content itself that has to be connected to the initiative to enhance the value of Islam inside every single, piece of text, every single piece of word that came up from the media content. So if you talk about the young people, I think the trend, you see, those days back then in 80s, during our, youngsters time, we have this trend of rockers, right? And then we have pop, And then you see, Nasheed came in so good. The acceptance is getting like, I must say, accepted by young people. And in fact, today there are a mixed, trend in terms of Korean. The K-pop comes in because I think not all, but there are still a group of youngsters who are still in the pursuit of their religiosity values. And I believe there could be different understanding on the perception of those mainstream young people. I mean, when I talk of mainstreaming, I will be sharing a little while. Mainstreaming are all the things that, the trend of the world. But as a Muslim countries, I think the pursuit of our values is still there. We have to share our aspirations, perhaps to also take a look on the values of educating the young people. It's never too late for me. Even I think the adults, not to say just young adults, but those in the adulthood also start learning about the value of Islam, in their life, and whatever they do is part of their way of life. So I think media play their bigger role here. They just have to work on something. Tuan Kamarul?
Agreed, definitely.
We are worried. We have children.
Yes, I do, definitely. I've got 5 actually. But the thing is, you see, the media works based on sponsors. Without any sponsors, we cannot do anything. And sponsors, more often than not, are not coming from the Islamic perspective or Islamic side. They are mostly multinationals, international companies, global companies who have the budget, who wants to promote their products and services, who wants to be attached with whatever values that we want to promote. However, they've got their own set of values or messages that they want to push on through their sponsorship. So that is when the challenge comes in. And if I see that if we have a consortium, like what Dr. Alina was mentioning earlier, with a whole backing of ethically conscious set of conglomerates or big-pocketed MNCs, I think we are able to, replicate or dictate or somehow try and push something huge. Because right now, as long as we are still dependent on the money from sponsors who may or may not understand our own values or what we're trying to push, it's going to be quite hard.
True. You can take a lead. Perhaps you can take a lead. Perhaps to bring this to the agenda of sustainability of young people, what youth impact, youth society, impact society in terms of media and creation. Because we are at this session, open up this opportunity, and it is not just on the perspective of Malaysia. We talk all of young people around the world.
Yeah, I know. It's a growing movement for sure. Even in the UK and the US, more developed nations, people are looking for alternative sources of entertainment, the ones that are not spilling out blood and cursing every single 5 seconds, those kind of things. It's a wholesome family entertainment, and that should be the way moving forward. Not regressing the whole society with dumbing down programs and half-cooked agenda that promotes something sinister behind our back, not fitra.
Sure.
It's all we need those kind of movements.
Let's do it. Maybe our conversation is not stopping here.
Definitely.
Right? Yeah. Inshallah.
But this Saudi Arabia is also opening up bigger avenues for new content. Probably that's a way where we can somehow get into the whole financial side of things for media. maybe.
Yeah, you leave your contact with us, right? Okay, I can see it here. Maybe I can start, perhaps looking into this and connect you to our energy.
Yeah.
Inshallah.
Anybody from my side, from Media Prima and NSTP that you want me together to roll
Yes,
it, I
of
will
course.
be able to, inshallah. Yeah, no problem.
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah.
Prof,
Yep.
I also have one question for you.
Unconscionable question.
Concerning about the universities from the East Coast, if I'm not mistaken, but I forgot which university. Is it your university or what? It mentioned about Center of Excellence for Malay, old manuscripts or heritage. So I am thinking, Prof, your university has the advantage that it is very close to Thailand, okay, pada Segenting Kra. So if at the northern side, you can also have a kind of educational smart partnership that may also cover the Patani area. Then we have a very rich, heritage. It's like what we call, I can't find a correct way. The only word in my mind is, Roja or Yisam kind of thing. Get it? This time, it is like a culture. Okay? So if it is something Kelantan or Terengganu or culture, but minus all these, all these paganistic or all these non-Sharia compliant, I think that is a very good selling point. For me, for the East Coast, there are three criteria. One is your culture. Okay. Number two is in terms of hygiene. Okay. Number three is making this information accessible to the public. Okay. So it is very unique. But then if there are no takers, like Sir Kamarul mentioned, if there are no funders and so on, so slowly the heritage or the culture and so on will die out, and it will be diluted or corrupted with other external how do you call it, budaya, other kind of culture, yes, which usually are not Sharia compliant, not even children or teenagers compliant.
Correct.
And it should also take into consideration the element of love, okay, because love and beauty are the items most engaged among the teenagers and youngsters, because it is the feel good. Okay, maybe I don't want to comment on love or beauty. Maybe Mr. Kamarul can comment also based from your experience in the media, not only in halal media, but since you are somebody big there in the media. All right.
Well, it's love is the most common theme
Intangible.
and most sellable, most easiest to sell, most easiest to get sponsors for. Problem is it doesn't go anywhere. it's just I mean, whoever has married and have children and have families on their own would know that it's just infatuation. And but the thing is, it's a good concept to push. It's just that trying to intertwine it with history, intertwine it with heritage, legacy. It is quite hard in the sense that you have to be a really good scriptwriter to do it. But it's doable. I can imagine somebody within the industry will be able to take it up, but it's still, it should be sellable, but it should be also historical, with some historical values and perspective and moral compass for the young generations. Because, man, I tell you, our whole region is full of undocumented and registered and promoted history and legacy that just dies out with time without any proper documentation, without any proper promotion and compiling. Media has a lot of role to play in this regard. I know for sure. We try to do it sometime with something like that with Jejak Rasul within the Nusantara segments and stuff, but still, still sponsor is another issue. They would rather sponsor something grand, like going to the Middle East or faraway countries, rather than research local heritage, which is quite sad.
Yeah. Well, you are in the middle of crisis. You have to position your interests, between those who paid you and those who really want to pursue their good deeds. These different things that actually you just have to put your own standing. But Alina, whatever that you have mentioned before, we have been doing that for long. Yeah, we have very close connection to quite a number of universities in Selatan, this Sultan of Thailand. And then I think several engagement have been done not only in Thailand but in ASEAN country as well. But maybe because of the border is so close to the Southern Thailand, university around that area is actually our partner university in number of occasions with regard to exchange of cultural value. And then there's the things that you talk about love is an issue about, it's not an issue, it's very abstract. Yeah, it's part of this intangible element. I was evaluating one of the PhD students and invited to Amsterdam, Delft Technology University, DTU. And I think she has been like engrossing into ASEAN and Europe. And he's comparing the value of our cultures and all these. The title of her thesis is Intangible. So whatever you thought just now is actually close to her heart, yeah? And she is able to dig out all the exploration of qualitative aspect when we talk about cultural diversity, and we connect that to the how could we make value, how does that create the design itself, create a lot of value. Yeah, so when we talk about the creative technology just now, we have a faculty, a so-called creative technology and heritage program. So inside there we have a number of things that connect to the heritage value as well, multimedia, visual communication design, industrial design, we have textile fashion, performing arts, and also the most important is heritage conservation. Yeah. So all this element has actually made us close to the society. We have what we call SEED program, that is social, entrepreneurship, something to do with development of the community and how we educate the society, whatever they do, create opportunities and engage into a lot of value creations outcomes. So perhaps that could give a lot of impact in terms of our involvement. And thank you very much for highlighting this up.
Yep, agree. It's I think some Indonesian universities are also working along that lines, trying to promote heritage, history, and past achievements within the region.
Yeah, they have vast cultural values. I think the exchange is like batik, for example, right? Everyone is quarreling that belongs to theirs. They claim this Indonesian, and Terengganu and Kelantan also claim theirs. See, but everybody has their own, starting point where to mention about, the initial phase of those origin come from.
Great. So, you ready to present, Prof?
Yeah, let me just share. Now the moderator has changed, is it?
Yeah.
Actually, Prof, just to share you, concerning about what I mentioned just now, it is coincident that a couple of years ago, the Dewan Bahasa and Pustaka asked me to be a blind reviewer.
All right.
For a very interesting book. Okay, I think I will paste it at the Q&A. Okay. It is named ETA. The book is actually written by our indigenous scientists. They are orang asli. Okay, so it mentioned about how because of the because of the way that development had taken off too fast, so we are losing our biodiversity. Some of the rivers are draining out. So the etok, which is like a kind of clams, which live in the river, because clams usually live in salty water or brackish water. So etok is something very traditional. It's the identity of Kelantan and Terengganu. So they have actually disappeared. They cannot get the seedlings of this, so it has to be imported elsewhere before it actually dies out. So I'm thinking if through the media, education, books, even scientific books, it can actually be rejuvenated and revived again, and to even relate towards food security, okay, as well as our biodiversity. So I'm hoping, well, I'm not giving homework only to Sir Kamarul Aznam, but also to Prof, okay, because hopefully it can inspire the youngsters. Yes, and to do the mapping of okay, let's see, like trees, okay, the biodiversity and so on, and then using the media document it before it gets extinct, and relating it with Islamic values, that we have to be conserving this, since we are actually viceregent of the earth, and not to be wasting and so on. So I think maybe if we share all this experience, not only the Malaysian experience, but Thailand experience or Indonesian experience, or those from the Middle East, we can actually learn from other nations their better practice or best practice, and we can copy them or we can share. So that's the idea. Wallahu alam.
It's actually quite a good idea.
The more suggestions, the better.
Yeah. It's just that, yeah, like I said, I think if we can somehow form out a consortium with some of the right parties, both government and state, and probably NGOs and even the consumer side, I think we can achieve a lot more. But you know, still, this is still up for discussion. I suppose it needs a lot more planning and preparation.
Agreed.
And I believe it is something like what Dr. Ali was saying yesterday. He was from the section of Halal Pharmaceutical. He told us that halal pharmacy now is similar like IT last time in the 1980s, because it is too advanced. So when they just came back, there are very few job opportunities because people are still unfamiliar with it. So I think we just have to keep on what we are doing, and we should actually keep on nurturing young halal talents, perhaps from Prof or Sir Kamarul, maybe through future potential collaborative works. That's the only way I can see and can think now.
Even this forum, this platform, the audience, are we actually opening to global audience?
Yes. This is very open, and then based from what Prof have presented, earlier, and all the presenters, and there are also tips. The head organizer had mentioned that they will paste the online the recordings, okay, so that it is accessible. So I think it is just a matter of time before we build up from this Halal conference. I think this is the third time, okay. Halal conference had been done. So I think this time it is uniquely focused on young talents, okay. And interestingly, I think in Malaysia, perhaps young talents in halal, I'm not sure whether the age range, is it around 40 or 50, maybe not 30 and below, wallahu alam. It takes time to build.
Yeah,
yes,
it's like mature.
Yes, unless we all can still be in this group. If they don't look at our biological age, they look at our age at heart. Wallahu a'lam.
Yeah. Great.
Okay. So any more insights, Prof, as well as Sir Kamarul, as well as questions from our attendees? Any more questions we can share? Sorry, my line was cut off several seconds ago, so I quite missed out what you said just now.
No, I think we can just proceed.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think there are no more presentation for today. Okay, so if there are no questions, I think we will actually stop this majlis and continue in tomorrow, which is a different session at the same time. Okay, so I want to thank everybody for attending and for absorbing the knowledge that Mr. Kamarul had very kindly shared, and I'm so enlightened also that Prof. Suzana had mentioned your university's initiative. So we just hope that we have good excuses together in the future to link, inshallah, and to take action on the ideas. Yes. So I think with this, let's end the session with Tasbih Kifara and Surah Wal Asri, as well as we hope you enjoy the session.
Thank you very much. Bismillah.
Wassalamualaikum ala Sayyidina Muhammad walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and please have a good day. Bye.
Assalamualaikum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.